A cold wind moved through the great hall of the River and High Council. Hundreds of alien citizens stood in silence, their bright skin glowing under the pale blue lights of the chamber. Every breath from the crowd created a soft echo. It was not a normal day. Everyone knew something strange was going to happen. Everyone knew a human had arrived. Elias, the only human in the room, walked slowly toward the center platform. His boots made a sharp sound on the metal floor. He could feel the eyes of every alien watching him. Some looked curious. Some looked angry. Some looked afraid. No one smiled at him. He had been told that this visit was for cultural cooperation. He had been told that it was a peaceful event. But from the moment he stepped out of his shuttle, he felt something was wrong. The guards did not welcome him. They ordered him. The council members did not greet him. They stared at him like he was prey. And now, standing at the glowing platform, he saw something that made his stomach tighten. Two girls walking forward, pushed by guards. Two alien girls, sisters, maybe 18 or 19, in human age, young, beautiful, terrified. The crowd whispered as the sisters came into the light. Their skin was a gentle silver blue, with soft patterns that looked like stars. Their eyes were bright, almost shining like tiny suns. Their hair, long and smooth, floated slightly as if touched by invisible wind. The first girl walked quietly, her hands held close to her body. Her name, spoken softly by the guards, was Lyra. She looked calm on the outside, but her trembling fingers told another story. The second girl walked with more fire in her eyes. She looked ready to fight, even while the guards dragged her forward. Her name was Sana. Elias watched them carefully, and something hit his heart like a shock. Their wrists had bruises. Fresh ones. Ugly ones. Marks of tight restraints. Something very wrong was happening here. The High Elder stepped forward, his tall frame wrapped in golden cloth. His voice echoed so loudly it felt like the room shook. "Human Elias," he said, "you stand on sacred ground. Today you must fulfill your duty." Elias frowned. "Duty? I wasn't told anything about a duty." The crowd gasped. The elder raised one hand, calling for silence. "It is time for the choosing," he declared. "Our population has suffered. Our future is uncertain. To save our line, we require a human's help. A human. Like you." Elias felt every muscle in his body tighten. The way he said "require" was not a request. It was a demand. And what does this choosing mean? Elias asked. Two guards stepped forward, pushing Lyra and Sana to stand beside him. The elder spoke slowly, clearly. Like every word was heavy with power. "You must choose one sister to take with you," he said. "One sister will join you for repopulation. The other will remain here." The room went silent. The sisters froze. Elias felt the air leave his lungs. Repopulation? Choose one? What was happening? Before he could speak, the elder raised a finger. "Choose Lyra or Sana, but only one may leave this hall with you." Elias looked at the sisters. They weren't volunteers. They weren't honored guests. They weren't even asked. They were prisoners. He looked closely at their faces. Lyra's eyes were full of fear, but also trust in anyone who looked kinder than the guards. Sana, on the other hand, seemed ready to break free, even if it killed her. The crowd waited. They leaned forward. They expected a quick choice. They expected humans to be selfish. Elias felt anger rising inside him. "You can't force this," he said. "I'm not choosing between two lives." The elder's voice became sharp. "If you refuse, both sisters will be punished, and your species will be marked as uncooperative." The guards raised their weapons. The hall lights dimmed. The tension grew like a storm. Elias looked at the sisters again. Sweat glistened on their skin. Their breaths were quick. They were trying to stay brave, but they were breaking inside. He slowly knelt down so he was level with them. His voice was soft. "Did they tell you anything about this?" Lyra shook her head. "We were taken from our home," she whispered. "We did nothing wrong." Sana clenched her fists. "They lie about everything. They say we must serve. They say we have no choice." Elias felt shock and fury mix in his chest. This was not cooperation. This was cruelty. He stood up again, facing the elder. "This is not a tradition," Elias said. "This is a threat." The elder smiled politely, but his eyes were cold. "Call it whatever you wish. The choosing must happen." The crowd began chanting softly, a deep rhythm that shook the floor. "Choose, choose, choose." Elias realized something. The sisters were not just chosen randomly. They were targeted. Someone had decided their fate long before he arrived. He leaned close to Lyra and Sana and whispered, "I won't abandon you. Either of you." The sisters looked confused, hopeful, scared all at once. The elder tapped his staff loudly. "Human, your time is ending. Make your choice." Elias felt the whole hall waiting. Hundreds of eyes. Hundreds of breaths held. The guards tightened their grips on their weapons. The sisters trembled. The lights flickered. His heart raced. But his voice was calm. He lifted his hand slowly. The crowd leaned forward, excited. He pointed at Lyra first. Then slowly moved his finger towards Sana. Gasps filled the room. The tension was unbearable. His voice echoed across the hall. "I choose." A long pause. Everyone waited. Even the sisters stopped. Breathing, Elias felt his heartbeat pound like thunder. Then he finished the sentence. "Both." The room exploded, shouting, screaming, guards moving. Elders panicking. The elder slammed his staff on the floor. "Impossible. Forbiddance. You cannot choose both." But Elias stepped forward, placing himself between the guards and the sisters. He looked straight into the elder's eyes. "I don't care about your rules," he said. "I don't care about your threats. No one forces me to choose between two innocent people." His voice grew stronger. "You want to judge humanity? Fine, judge us by this. Humans do not leave anyone behind." The guards rushed in. One grabbed Sana by the arm. Another reached for Lyra. Elias moved first. He grabbed the wrist of the guard, holding Lyra, and twisted sharply, forcing him to release her. The crowd gasped. Another guard pointed a weapon at Elias, but Sana stepped in front of him, using her own body as a shield. The lights flickered dangerously. The elder shouted, "Stop them!" But the sisters were no longer frozen. They stood behind Elias, ready to fight, ready to run anything to avoid being separated again. In that moment, the entire hall turned into chaos. Elias whispered to the sisters, "Trust me. Stay close. We're leaving together." Lyra nodded. Sana grabbed his arm firmly. The guards closed in, forming a deadly circle around them. And right as the first guard lifted his blade, Elias reached into his pocket. He pressed a hidden button. A small device lit up, humming dangerously. The floor vibrat. The walls rattled. The elders shouted. The crowd screamed. A blinding white flash spread across the hall, and everything turned into light. The blinding white flash filled the entire council hall like a miniature sun exploding in the center. For a moment, every alien guards, elders, citizens covered their eyes and stumbled backward. Their vision burned. Their movements slowed. Their senses scrambled. Only Elias stayed steady. He had prepared for this moment. In his hand, the small round device hummed with soft blue light. It was a human emergency field beacon, a rare piece of tech meant only for saving lives in deadly missions. It created a temporary magnetic shockwave that confused alien senses for exactly 30 seconds. 30 seconds. That was all Elias had to save both sisters. "Come on!" Elias shouted, grabbing Lyra with one hand and pulling Sana with the other. The sisters blinked rapidly, trying to regain their vision. Their hearts raced. But they trusted him. They followed instantly. Behind them, the council hall was chaos. Guards shouted orders they couldn't hear. Elders screamed. Energy spears clattered on the floor. Blue lights flickered, like lightning storms as the beacon messed with the entire building's power grid. Sana looked over her shoulder as they ran. "What did you do?" "Later," Elias said. "Just stay close." The beacon buzzed sharply. 20 seconds left. They sprinted down the long corridor that led away from the hall. The corridor walls glowed faint blue, but the lights flickered wildly. The magnetic shock was disrupting everything: doors, sensors, even gravity plates under the floor. Lyra stumbled as the gravity flickered, making her weight shift suddenly. Elias caught her before she fell. "You okay?" I can run," she said, breathless but determined. Sana was breathing hard too. But she stayed on Elias's right side, always ready to fight back if the guards caught up. As they ran, the building alarms erupted. A deep siren echoed through every hallway. "Attention!" A robotic voice boomed. "The human prisoner is attempting escape. Detain the sisters. Lethal force permitted." Sana flinched at the word lethal. "They're going to kill us," she whispered. "No," Elias said firmly. "Not while I'm here." The beacon buzzed again. 10 seconds left. Elias pointed ahead. "That way. The west corridor leads to the spaceport." Lyra's eyes widened. "You know the layout?" "I studied it last night," Elias said. "Just in case." Sana almost smiled despite the danger. "Humans are crazy." "Humans are prepared," Elias corrected. The beacon's final buzz sounded like a dying bird. One last warning. Then it went dead. Instantly, the lights brightened. The gravity plate stabilized. The guards in the hall regained their vision. Their shouts grew louder, angrier. "Move, move," Elias urged. The three of them sprinted faster. Behind them, heavy footsteps echoed. Guards were coming. Dozens of them, maybe more. Lyra touched a wall panel as they passed. Her fingers glowed faint silver. The panel sparked, and the door behind them sealed shut. Sana stared. "You can do that?" "I don't know how long it will hold," Lyra said softly. "But it will slow them." They reached a sliding door. Elias pressed the panel. Red light flashed. "Locked," he said. Footsteps thundered closer. Sana raised her fists. "I can break it." "No," Elias said quickly. "That will take too long." He looked at Lyra. "Can you?" Lyra pressed her palm to the glass panel again. Her silver glow spread into the circuits. The door buzzed, shook, then opened halfway. Sana grabbed the bottom edge and forced it the rest of the way open. "Go." They slipped inside and continued running down a long metallic tunnel. The alarms grew louder. Red sirens flashed. "They won't stop until they find us," Lyra said. "They won't," Elias agreed. "That's why we need to be smarter." Sana raised an eyebrow. "You have a plan?" "Yes," Elias said. "But it's dangerous." "Everything we're doing is dangerous," Sana said. "Tell us." Elias slowed for a moment and looked at both sisters. "I didn't just bring that beacon," he said. "I brought a human stealth module too. Small, portable, but it can hide us for a minute or two." Lyra blinked in surprise. "You smuggled human tech here?" "Yes," Elias said. "Because I didn't trust your elders." Sana smirked. "Good choice." They continued forward, turning into another hallway. Elias checked a glowing map on his wrist device. 3 minutes until we reach the spaceport connection bridge, he said. "And the guards?" Lyra asked. "Probably 60 seconds behind us," Elias answered. Sana cracked her knuckles. "Great. I wanted a warm-up." Elias gave her a look. "Let's not fight an entire alien army." They turned a corner and froze. A full squad of guards stood in front of them. 10 soldiers, all armed. "All ready." One shouted, "Stop!" Do not move. Sana stepped forward, ready to punch the closest guard. Elias grabbed her arm. No, that's suicide. The guards aimed their weapons. Down on the floor. One yelled, Lyra trembled, Sana growled. Elias took a slow breath. Then he reached into his jacket. The guards shouted louder. Don't move. He ignored them. He pulled out a small flat square device, human-made. Metallic black. Then he slammed it onto the floor. A sharp ringing sound filled the hallway. A pulse of invisible energy spread outward. Like a shockwave, the guards suddenly froze in place. Their weapons raised, but their bodies stiff as statues. Elias grabbed the sisters and pulled them past the immobilized guards. What? What did you do to them? Lyra asked. Microparalysis blast, Elias said. It shuts down motor functions for 30 seconds. Sana laughed breathlessly. Humans are dangerous. We're resourceful, Elias said. Correcting her again, they continued their escape, turning into a much larger corridor. At the end of it was a huge window looking out at the dark sky and glowing landing pads of the spaceport. Almost there, Elias said. Just across the bridge. They ran toward the connection bridge, a long narrow walkway surrounded by transparent walls. But as soon as they stepped onto it, a massive shadow appeared in front of them. A tall figure stepped out. A commander, not an ordinary guard. Not a weak elder. A giant warrior with black armor and a heavy plasma blade crackling in his hands. You cannot leave, the commander growled. Hand over the sisters now. Sana stepped in front of Elias again, fearless. Never. The commander raised his blade. Then you will die first. Elias whispered urgently. Sana, don't fight him. He's too strong. Sana smiled. Good. I like a challenge. But Lyra grabbed her wrist. No, we can't win like this. The commander walked closer, his armor making heavy metallic sounds. Elias stepped forward. Let them go. They're innocent. Innocent? The commander repeated. They are too powerful. Their existence is dangerous. Together, they could destroy this city with one mistake. Elias blinked. Together? The commander pointed his blade at the sisters. Their combined energy is forbidden. That is why we keep them apart. Sana whispered, they're scared of us. Lyra's eyes filled with fear. They want us separated because we are stronger together. Elias understood everything in one instant, and he smiled. Good, he said softly. We'll use that. The commander raised his blade. Enough talk. Elias shouted, Lyra now. Lyra closed her eyes. Her hands began to glow bright silver. Sana grabbed her hand, letting energy pass between them. Silver and blue sparks danced around their fingers. The commander realized too late. No stop. But the sisters unleashed a burst of combined energy that shook the entire bridge. The transparent walls cracked. The floor rippled under the shock. The commander was thrown backwards, crashing into the far wall hard enough to dent the metal. He fell. Unconscious. The sisters looked at Elias. Breathing fast, glowing softly. Elias smiled. That was perfect. They ran the final stretch of the bridge. Beyond the doors was the spaceport and their chance at freedom, but the alarm suddenly changed pitch. New voice echoed through the speakers. Emergency lockdown initiated. Escape route sealed. Pursuit units inbound. Lyra gasped. They're not giving up. Elias tightened his grip on their hands. Then we won't either. Together, they pushed through the final doors and stepped into the storm of their greatest escape. Cold night air rushed into their faces as Lyra and Sana burst into the open spaceport. Bright landing lights flashed across the flat metal ground. Ships of all shapes rested on their platforms, some small and quick, others huge and heavy. The sky above was dark purple. Storm clouds building at the edges. Alarms screamed everywhere. Searchlights swept across the spaceport like giant glowing hands hunting for them. Sana grabbed Elias's arm tightly. Which ship is ours? Elias pointed to a sleek black vessel sitting near the edge of the landing area. It had long wings and bright blue engines. That one. He shouted, "Run!" They sprinted across the platform. Machines hummed. Wind howled. Guards shouted from far behind. Lyra suddenly stopped. "Elias, don't stop!" He yelled, "No, look!" Elias turned. 4 massive metal doors on the far side of the port began sliding open. From inside, heavy footsteps echoed like thunder. Sana's face turned pale. Pursuit mechs. Huge robots 10 meters tall walked out into the open. Their eyes glowed red. Their cannons powered up. Elias whispered, "We don't have time for this." The mechs aimed, then they fired. A blast of bright plasma shot toward the trio. Sana shoved Elias down as the blast hit the floor behind them. The explosion shook the entire spaceport. Shards of metal flew into the air. "We need to move." Elias yelled, pulling them back to their feet. They dashed toward the ship again. Another blast roared past them. Burning the air, Lyra stumbled. Elias caught her. "Are you okay?" "I can keep running," she said breathlessly. "But they will not stop." Sana looked over her shoulder. "We need a distraction." "No," Elias said firmly. "We stay together, always." They raced across the final stretch of the platform. The ship was only 50 meters away. 40.30. But suddenly, a new sound filled the air. A deep vibration. A shadow passing overhead. Elias looked up. A war cruiser was descending from the sky, its huge engines shaking the ground. It hovered above the spaceport like a giant beast blocking the stars. Bright lights aimed down at them. A voice echoed from its speakers. "This is Commander Rax. Human, surrender the sisters." Sana hissed, "That's him. The leader of the Council's forces." The cruiser lowered even more, almost touching the landing platform. Elias clenched his jaw. "He followed us." Lyra looked terrified. "What do we do?" Elias pointed again at the ship. "Keep going. We can still make it." But the mech units had spotted them again. 2 mechs stepped directly in front of their path. Their cannon arms glowed, ready to fire. The trio skidded to a stop. Sana raised her fists. "I can take them. I swear I can." "No," Elias said. "They'll kill you." Sana stepped closer to him. "Elias, we don't want to die here." Lyra grabbed his hand. "Please, tell us your plan." He took a deep breath. "We do what they fear most." Sana's eyes widened. "You mean?" "Yes," Elias said. "You go together." Lyra swallowed. "But we've never used our energy at full force. It could be dangerous." "We have no choice," Elias said. "Trust yourselves." The mechs prepared to fire. The cruiser above them charged its cannons. Dozens of guards poured into the spaceport. Sana took Lyra's hand, gripping it tightly. "Ready, sister?" Lyra nodded, though her voice shook. "I'm with you." Their fingers intertwined. Their breathing sensed. Their eyes closed. Elias stepped back slowly. The air around the sisters began to shimmer softly, first blue, then silver, then swirling together like a living storm. The glow grew brighter. Until the sisters burned like 2 stars touching. Wind whipped around them, pulling dust and metal scraps into the air. Energy danced between their hands. Sparks shot outward, cracking across the platform like lightning. The mech stepped back uncertainly. Even the cruiser paused. Its descent. Elias shielded his eyes. "That's it. Keep going." The glow intensified, building. Then Sana whispered, "Lyra, now." The energy burst outward in a massive shockwave. It hit the mechs first, knocking them back like toys. Their heavy metal bodies flew across the platform and crashed into the far wall. It hit the guards next, sweeping them off their feet and tossing them across the ground. It hit the cruiser last, shaking it violently. Its engines sputtered. Its lights blinked. The giant ship tilted in the air, struggling to stay balanced. Commander Rax shouted from the speakers, "Stop them! They must not use their power." But he was too late. The sisters' energy rose, higher, brighter, hotter. It formed a glowing shield around Elias and the girls. Wrapping them in a sphere of light, the cruiser fired. Huge energy beam shot downward. The beam hit the shield and bounced off into the sky. The commander tried again. Another beam. Another reflection. The glowing shield held strong. Elias stared, amazed. "You're protecting us." Lyra opened her eyes slightly. They glowed pure silver. We don't want to hurt anyone. Just protect." Sana's voice shook from the effort. "Please, Elias. Get to the ship." "But you go," Sana shouted. "We can hold it." He didn't want to leave them, but he trusted them. He sprinted toward the black ship. The ramp opened automatically at his approach. He ran inside and activated the engines. The ship hummed. Life. He looked through the cockpit window. The sisters were still glowing brightly. The shield strong, but they were shaking. The effort was hurting them. Elias slammed the communication panel. "Lyra, Sana. Come on, get in." Lyra heard him. Her glow flickered. She whispered to Sana, "We need to move." Sana nodded. "Let's go." They released each other's hands. The shield vanished instantly. Energy sparks died around them. They stumbled. Weak and gasping, the mechs tried to stand again. The cruiser lowered, angry and unstable. Its engines damaged. The elders screamed orders from somewhere. "Run!" Elias shouted from the cockpit. Sana grabbed Lyra's waist, helping her move. "Come on, sister." They ran toward the ship as the ground shook around them. The cruiser fired again, a broken, unstable beam of raw energy. It tore across the spaceport, destroying everything in its path. Elias screamed, "Jump!" The sisters leaped onto the ramp just as the beam hit the ground beside them, exploding the platform. Sana rolled inside. Lyra collapsed. Elias pulled both of them fully into the ship and slammed the ramp button. The door sealed shut. He rushed to the cockpit. "Hold on." The engines lifted them off the ground. The cruiser fired again. The beam hit the air behind them. The black ship shot forward into the sky like a comet. Lyra lay weak in the seat behind him. "Elias, yes?" he said, trying to keep the ship steady. "Thank you for not leaving us." Elias smiled softly. "Humans don't abandon people. Not ever." Sana sat next to him, still catching her breath. "Where are we going?" Elias looked at the stars ahead. "To Haven 7, he said. "A human colony. A safe place." Sana's eyes softened. Will they accept us?" "Yes," Elias said. "They will welcome you." Lyra touched his arm. "And after that?" "After that," Elias said, "you can choose your own life. No more chains. No more prisons. No more elders telling you what you can't be." Sana smiled. "Our new home," Lyra whispered. "Our new life." The ship entered hyperspace, leaving Rivora behind. Hours later, the ship exited into a peaceful region of space. Ahead was Haven 7, a bright colony of metal domes, green fields, and human lights glowing warmly across the dark planet's surface. Sana stared at it. "It's beautiful." Lyra wiped her eyes. "I want to live there." Elias smiled gently. "You will." As they descended toward the colony, a message came through the radio. "Unidentified ship, welcome. Please send your IDs." Elias answered, "This is Elias, returning from diplomatic mission." I have 2 guests who need protection. A pause. Then a calm human voice replied, Understood. You are safe here. Welcome home. Lyra closed her eyes. Sana leaned her head on Lyra's shoulder. Elias looked at them both. Maybe humanity wasn't asked to repopulate. Maybe humanity was here for something greater, to save those who needed hope the most. The ship landed softly. Warm lights glowed. And for the first time in their lives, the sisters stepped onto ground where they were free.